For those of you that know me, you know that I care about what goes into my body. I'm all like, oh no, I'm not gonna drink out of a plastic cup. Plastic's bad for you. And then I was eating this apple and I looked and I ate the plastic sticker. Why do they do that? Why do they put the stickers on the apple? Alright, listen to this. As we go through life, we are in these separate beings, these vehicles, if you will, driving around, living. Sometimes when we're alive, it just feels like we're watching everything. We're watching things unfold and we have no control. And the more time you spend up here, the more it can feel like you are all alone. And you look at groups of people and you're like, I'm not a part of that. And sometimes you want to be a part of that and you get pushed away by the group. You get pushed away because you don't quite fit, which is very painful, very familiar to the transgender story. Sometimes you feel like you could relate, or you feel like you could, and you actually get just judged and judged in this way that you're like not good enough, or not worthy, or cool, or just, you know, no respect for the person you are, and you get this huge pain inside because you have been pushed away from the group. You have been excluded, and being excluded from society is painful because we need we have a great chance of survival if we work together. Humans love companionship. They like to have support of others. They like to be part of a group. That's totally natural. So it's very painful when you get pushed away. And one time I was in sort of a work environment, and they had us do this exercise together to be aware that if we're excluding people or being inclusive, you know, they wanted to create an inclusive environment. And so they said, raise your hand if you've ever felt like you didn't belong, or if you've been excluded from a group. And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. You know, and I looked around and everybody felt like that. Even this blonde, beautiful girl, white, straight, in the United States, it's usually a kind of person that feels like they fit in, according to my observations. But she was like, oh yeah, I feel weird all the time, like people just don't get me, and like I'm an alien. And I was like, what? You don't know what it feels like? Only I know what it feels like. What? But that's not true, you see, because the truth is every single person does actually know what it feels like to be alone, because we all have these brains inside our head, and we have this internal voice, and we have this internal experience. We all do. And when we go deep inside, we can feel how separate we are from everybody else. And that can be really scary. And it can be really scary when your thoughts are not matching up with what the cultural message is. When you're having these new ideas that you've never heard before that you know, threaten the normal way of life and stuff. So being transgender, super tricky, or just a hard setup for fitting in. You know, it's an automatic struggle. But there's a gift. There is a gift that comes with being on the outside. The gift is you have a great big picture view of what's going on. You can make observations that someone from the inside can't see. So there are things to be celebrated when you're on the outside of something, just as there are things to be celebrated when you're on the inside. Because sometimes we all have these great days or months or years where we just feel like we really fit and we're really getting along and everything's going great. And when you're there, you can recognize in others who are being excluded or who feel excluded, you can see what you know might be happening, and you can reach out. You can break the feeling of exclusivity by just simply inviting someone in, or even just trying to invite them out of their own, you know, mind, and, you know, getting stuck with this internal experience. You know, because so it's like on each side, the inside and the outside, there are these gifts. So in the discussion there, let's just talk about you know, times where you did feel included or excluded. You know, what was it that created that feeling? And how did you transition from one side to the other? Because we do go back and forth all the time. And I'm curious, you know, what those moments are where you're like, oh, I'm gonna switch over to this one. Oh, I'm gonna come back to the, you know, like, I think it's just an interesting concept. I think it's important to understand it's a natural fluctuation, uh, and I think it's important to learn from each place that you're in and what that place is giving you, what it's showing you, and what you can give to others from being in that place.